Hey, everybody. It's Dave and Jennifer. How are you today? What's up, Jennifer?
We're back.
We are back from our road trip in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And man, it was just a great time. One, the family's there, so we always have fun, seeing the family. But two, we really got to do a whole lot of modular videos and walkthroughs and see different things.
Yeah.
So I love it. So listen, if you're joining us today, this is Dave Cooper and Jennifer. And episode 10, Building Modular?
10. Yeah.
Episode 10 of Building Modular. 10 weeks.
I know. Can you believe it?
So
yeah, and we know that there's a bunch of you out there watching in the background, and just want to welcome you all because we did bump into you in the last couple of weeks where even last week when we were in Pittsburgh, we had people say, we watch all your shows and
I know. And I said, well, why don't you like and share and let us know you're out there. So if you are out there, please hit that like and share button right now so we can grow our audience, grow offsite construction and everything that we are doing. So I love it. I love it. I love it. So Jen, I think we owe a lot of thank yous and shout outs to those in Pittsburgh. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. For everyone who hosted us, who came out of, self-quarantine to meet us. And, things are definitely loosening up a little bit, but everybody is still doing their fair share to social distance. So, huge thank you to Module.
Yeah, for sure. Module, Brian Gaudio and his team. We got to meet a lot of the team, Anchor.
Yeah.
Who else was there that
Haley.
day? Haley was there that day. A lot of the field crew was there doing work. So hopefully you were able to join us this past week there. So thank you, Module. Thank you, Brian Gaudio and team. We had a blast coming through and showing your wares.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so that was Tuesday where we did our Building Modular episode on location.
How cool is that?
Yeah. And then Wednesday, we were literally right around the block with Blockhouse Residential.
Yeah.
No pun intended there.
So Blockhouse, that was really cool too. And it was by a sheer circumstance that we were going to do that. We actually had another show lined up. We had to rearrange some things because schedules got switched up. And Blockhouse was just there and we were able to walk through their home and show it. So all these videos are there. If you want to see what Module's doing and where they're at on their build, if you want to see what Blockhouse Residential is doing in Pittsburgh with their build, and I think we have some photos of some of their stuff.
We do.
Just go to YouTube or go to, on LinkedIn here, especially for the Blockhouse one. I think it's only on the LinkedIn. Go check it out. It's in the description, or we can put it in the description afterwards if it's not.
Yeah. So last week we were talking about interior construction at those two locations. And this week we're moving on to exterior finishes.
Exterior finishes.
Yeah. Moving outside of the house.
In exterior, right? And there's no particular order to these things because the interior and the exterior all needs actually simultaneously being worked on.
Right.
It's just in which the process we can bring it to you, the audience, on how all this kind of flows through the process. So with that said, Jennifer, have you been seeing any likes and shares?
Let's see.
I'm pulling it up now. Let's go in here. So, all right, perfect. Always love it when my friend Anthony Good logs in. Hey, Anthony, I hope all is well. George, I love it that you're always tuning in. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Good morning from hot Phoenix, Arizona. How hot is it in Phoenix? Because we lost our hot.
I know. Well, we were thinking about you last week, George, because it was so hot in Pittsburgh. We were melting.
It was 90 degrees.
I know.
It was brutal, especially in construction where there's no air conditioning yet, except for in Blockhouse.
Yeah. So special thanks to Andrew Holmes and Zach Rastelli from Blockhouse, who turned the AC on for us. So we were thinking about you, George.
Yeah, we definitely were. So today I wish I was in Arizona because it feels like it's only 65, 70 here in New England. So, all right, well, we're back. We're going to hop into this. Please let us know where you're tuning in from. And those of you who just like to watch and not like and share, come on, give us a little love. Like and share it, and let's get it out there. Let's grow offsite construction and become part of the conversation, please. We want you part of the conversation. George said it was 111 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
111 degrees here today? 111? Oh man, George, I hope your air conditioning working.
That's a little too hot.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me. No way. All right. here we go, Jennifer. You ready to hop in?
Yeah, let's check it out. So like we were saying, we're, there's really no particular order. A lot of this work happens in tandem, right? The crews are inside the house and outside of the house. And one thing that's so important, regardless of where you are after the modules are installed, is to make sure you can get into the house and around in the house. So regardless of where you're starting, always, always, always make sure you have safe exterior and interior stairs that your crews can use. Yeah,
you have to. I mean, the mechanical guys are showing up with their furnaces and plumbing or whatever supplies they are. And again, safety first, always. Yeah. Always, always, always.
Absolutely.
We jumping in?
We are.
Went too fast. Don't look at that one.
That's okay. We've covered this a couple of times. That's our timeline, just reminding the group, modular construction, all the time savings. This is where you make it up, right?
It is where you make it up.
You're barreling down toward the finish line. The site, so much site work happened while the modules were being constructed inside the factory. And now we're really we're really running toward the finish line, getting those customers in.
We definitely are. And hey, George, I'm just curious real quick. I just thought something. You joined in from Facebook last time. Tell me how that experience was. We haven't had a lot of comments from Facebook yet. So, all right, let's keep going, Jennifer. Mm-hmm. What are we looking at here? It looks familiar.
Yes, it does. And so again, when we're talking about exterior finishes, design details make all of the difference. Again, if you joined us last week, you know that this is a photo of the 3 structures that Module is currently working on. And next to it is the project that Blockhouse has finished and is now on the market. Dave, the interesting thing about these 2 photos, and forgive my amateur photography, is essentially each unit is the same dimensions and came from the same factory.
So same width, different lengths.
Mm-hmm. Different lengths,
right. But it is the same width. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you're looking at here, both of these units are roughly 15.9, 16 feet. Mm-hmm. We'll just round it. Mm-hmm. 16-foot wide units on both sides. And I think that it all just makes a difference where, Modules units are on the left. Mm-hmm. To the right is Blockhouse Residential, and theirs are already finished and they're going on the market for sale here shortly. But yeah, I mean, that's a townhouse type project to the right. And those are the same size units inside and out to the left.
Exactly. One of the differences is that the module project is using superior walls to get that 10-foot foundation. And Blockhouse Residential also had a 10-foot foundation, but more of a traditional concrete pour than the superior walls, completely underground, whereas the Blackstreet project is exposed, obviously.
It is, yeah. But I mean, even so, the Blackstreet is exposed. Not all of it, but a good portion of it is exposed. And they used on a hill a floating foundation system, gravity fed, superior walls, and really it looks beautiful. I mean, they both do.
It really does. We wanted to stay in that basement. Remember how cool it was down there and how conditioned that space was?
It was cool until we couldn't get our signal out on our live feed. Note to self: 10 feet underground, concrete walls in the city. Yeah, live feed, cellular service, not a good combination by any stretch.
Yeah. Before you move on to the photos, though, 2 things we learned last week from a site work perspective is, and this is no different for modular construction as it is for traditional construction. Both of these projects ran into some issues. One where they had an ancient river down below.
Yeah, Blockhouse had an ancient river, so they had to do some extra shoring of that foundation. That's the unknown, right? We don't have X-ray vision, and we definitely do not build submarines. That's what I tell people all the time.
Right. So when you're planning, in your planning process, these are the things that sometimes do come up. You can't avoid them. They do happen, but each of these teams really proceeded gracefully and made the best of it. And even with the shutdown, have not lost that much time. So it's amazing how it all comes together.
Yeah, very much so. It really is. And then what about Module? They ended up having a whole set of buried stairs, like an old concrete set of stairs from Pittsburgh way back in the day. And I think they also had some plumbing, like some water issues there with some old pipes that were in place.
Yeah. So, these are the things that you need to be on the lookout for, but both really great projects, proud of both of these teams and so excited for them as they move forward.
And as soon as we're done, we'll put the links in for the videos on these. I should have thought about that prior, but we're just scrambling here coming home. So, all right. Wow, I'm all blown up, aren't I?
Yeah, a little bit big. But again, we're talking, oh my gosh, we're talking about exterior finishes. And we talked about the importance of stairs, making sure that that's one of the first things that you address, both in from the outside and up and down once you're inside. This photo, I love this picture. This is from Nichiha, giving them a shout out. But again, it's all in the design details. And some of this work you may choose to do on site, not always. But this is some of the exterior finish work that will need to be done once you're on site. So even if you're cladding, if it's done at the factory, there are portions of it that will be left exposed and need to be finished on site. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, but again, what I love about this is it shows that you are not limited on what you can do with modular. I mean, that has a little bit of everything. Has 16, 18-inch eave overhangs, has different window styles. It has fiber cement siding, cedar look siding. Has metal seamed roof, right? So you're not limited. Any normal person that doesn't know our business, and even if you did know our business, I couldn't look at that and tell you if it was modular, quite honestly.
Right.
And that's one of the most powerful things about this. But just like everything else, the button up is the most important thing. We need to keep the water out. We need to get everything ready to go, to include roofs, porches, even these beam areas that you see, these wooden beams that are here. All of that needs to be put in place so we can button it up and watertight it.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of that sealing does happen at the factory. Like all of these, if you go back to if we were to go back to that Blackstreet project photo, you would see all of the DuPont water barrier, right?
Yep.
On there. So there will be some repair that needs to be made, right?
There is. And for all you exterior house wrap professionals out there that like to beat me up every time I show a modular right after the set, there is. I mean, they don't come perfect. They come in sections. So we have some overlap that has to happen. We have some attention to detail on work to pull it all together. But absolutely. I mean, this is what you're looking at. What you're seeing right there, minus some of this black cladding that they did, and they have metal seam roofs on these homes. I mean, that's really how it came from the manufacturing plant, as you're seeing it right there with very little work.
Yeah, which is cool. And we love bringing these photos to you and the videos from last week, because you can see also, the product that SMI is producing. Because again, these were all of the modules for both of these projects came from SMI.
Very good. You're actually right. Structural Modular Inc., right? SMI. Yeah, I think is what it is. So, both customers are happy with their product. So that's a manufacturer in Northern Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you. We love it.
Yeah.
For doing great work. All right.
We can probably go to the next one. Okay. So again, some of the exterior finish work that will need to be done on site. Obviously, perimeter trim boards, we'll want to get that up locally.
For sure.
Let's talk a little bit about openings that happen across marriage walls. This is where the design process really adds value when you are looking at your structure and when you're looking at how the modules are coming together. Really, you try to avoid exterior windows or doors falling on mate lines. But sometimes the design of the home requires it, demands it, whether it's an aesthetic point of view or an approach. Sometimes you really want that door there and you don't want to
for the customer.
Right. Exactly. So this is where you would choose to install those on site.
Yeah, for sure. So you see this window up here. Normally that'd be a weight load area coming down through the center of that window, right? Where the peak is on that wall, on the gable. You're not limited. It just means you're going to install it on site, which means you're adding to local labor, local fees in that aspect. So just put your header in. It's already typically has all of its jack studs. Everything's in place. Right. Everything's already roughed in. Window or door would ship loose.
Exactly.
Put it in. Done.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Nice and easy. And then some additional insulation. I mean, obviously these modules come very well insulated, especially depending on what specs, you're requiring the factory to build to. But there are places that you want to add insulation to, or where those mate walls come together, those marriage lines, that you'll want to do that work. We saw that happening again on the module project.
We did.
In between the basement level, the garage level and the first floor. They were adding insulation there. So that's the other work that will need to be done on site.
Yeah. So basically you got two units coming together. So one, you have the mate line, wood is not straight, and anybody tries to sell me on that it is, unless you're doing like a CLT or an engineered type product. So you have some gaps in wood, no matter whether you site build or modular. We spray foam seal all of those with fire rated spray foam, typically is what you should be doing out there.
Right.
And then also, like you're talking about, Jen, where that band joist hits the foundation, just like a site build home. You want to get your insulation there. You got to get your R value up, whether it's a bad insulation, a closed cell, open cell, whatever you're going to use to do that. So you have those things that you want to do right away. And it also just ties the whole package together.
Yeah.
Right. From an energy efficiency standpoint.
Yeah. And even just, referencing back to last week, we had Cheryl Seco on, who was talking about, the impact of mold and the importance of ventilation and the importance of sealing your home and the tight, building envelope. That is all inherent in modular construction. So much of that happens within modular construction. And if you miss that episode, regardless of what field you're in or what line of work you're in, Cheryl had so many amazing things to share with us last week in terms of the impact that mold has on your health.
She really did. I'm listening to you, Jen. I just putting a question out there. You've got me thinking about something. So I wanted to put it up here.
Oh, goodness.
I know. Well, let's put it up here now so people get to see it as we're going through. And, I need to copy it because we're in 3 locations.
Yeah. So no, she had a lot of good things to say about that. And we were talking about our values and everything else. And again, depending on where you're looking to build and what the requirements are in your state, like I know for us, we have to do all the blower door tests. And there's even between Connecticut and Rhode Island, there's varying degrees of what's required.
Right.
So with modular construction, we're one step ahead of the competition from an insulation standpoint, and just how tight our building envelope really is.
Yeah, just because we built from the inside out, we can handle and get all of those gaps that happen that a traditional site contractor just can't get to because they got to get their sheathing on and everything else in prior to that. So 100%.
Yeah. So here we also mentioned that venting and solar panels, those are 2 things that need to be addressed on site as well. Obviously solar panels is an option. And with the venting, through the roof and everything else, some of that needs to be done.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, right? Because the venting, this is one of the things, a lot of times, on a project like this, possibly being that it's more of a Cape style home, the roof's going to come laying flat.
Exactly.
So therefore, all your plumbing stacks, your venting stacks, such as what you're talking about, that typically would go through the roof, need to be connected when that roof is raised up, need to be connected from the top of that ceiling joist up through the attic with the boot, right? So a lot of times the set crew will do that. A lot of times they don't want nothing to do with any holes in the roof. So therefore your plumber is going to do it. But you need to account for that in your pricing, right? Your plumber needs to account for it. And there are plumbers out there that don't get on roofs.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Again, going back to those scopes of work that all of your on-site trade partners really need to be aware of, that is one of the major differences that, you just need to make sure it's accounted for somewhere, regardless of who might be doing it. And again, going back to the planning process, when you're looking where all of those vents and how all that venting lines up, these are things that you should be training your eye on when you're looking at the plans. So really looking at every single floor, basically at the same time, making sure that your chase and everything else lines up, because that's another thing that we've seen in some of the projects is where that chase doesn't exactly line up. Yeah,
it does happen sometimes, and sometimes it's the manufacturer, sometimes it's the builder not double checking their work. And I think that's a very important thing. And we talked about that in earlier episodes about having to really stay focused on the details. Do not assume that everybody else has figured it out for you.
Right.
So that's the biggest point. Also with solar, because a lot of more solar is happening these days, you have to pre-plan for that. What do you need? What chase you need? You can ask your manufacturer to set up the sub panel, with the legs, however you want, first floor, second floor. I want my kitchen on the right, whatever the case is, and also be set up and ready to accept what the solar company needs. So when they come on site, they just run their wires through the chase to the sub panel, put on their stuff, and rock and roll. Right. Same with generators.
Yeah. You want to get those trade partners in early on the conversation and make sure that setup is complete. That's how you maximize efficiencies.
It is how you maximize efficiencies, and it's very true. You definitely need to plan, pre-plan, and keep pre-planning. Yeah. All right, shall we?
We shall.
Okay. I got to make my slides smaller.
Yeah. So here we go. And again, some optional features that could be done on site. Some of this can be done at the factory, like exterior lighting. It just depends on, again, the level of finish that you're looking to achieve and how much lighting we're talking about. And obviously gutters and downspouts, that's typically done on site. We talked about this in another episode here in New England. It's a funny thing. There's a lot of homes that they
don't do the gutters and downspouts. I mean, especially when you're on the sand.
Yeah.
There's drainage. It just drains. Where are you putting it?
Exactly.
So a lot of people do not do gutters and downspouts in New England.
Yeah.
And I know that's hard to believe, and you can argue me all day long, but that's just the way it goes.
Right. I do love this photo here. Yeah. This is from Rochester Homes.
Hey, Rochester Homes. Look, got my coffee mug. In fact, got this one and got one from Tiffany McCall, RWC Warranty, nice. Right? Who's big supporter of the industry. So thank you so much. We will be using and promoting the coffee mugs online. And then when we have so many of them, we're going to start doing giveaways. And listen, this is a Yeti.
I know.
My kids are like, Dad, you know how much that is? I said, I don't, but it's really nice.
I know.
And they say, can I have it? No. So thank you, Rochester Homes and Tiffany McCall, and we'll show Tiffany's on another episode.
Yeah. So all good stuff, and like I said, I do love this home, and again, just showing all the possibilities with modular and essentially all the same modules, right? It's just how you put them together and how you dress them up. It's fun. It's
a beautiful house, and it has a mix of siding, has vertical lap siding, has vinyl siding. And that's really what's great. You would not know this is a modular home ever,
right?
By looking at it. And Rochester does a really, really good job.
Yeah, they do.
So thank you.
And moving on. So the most fun part of any home now, especially now that the weather is starting to get nice, although George might say, no, I want to stay inside. But this is the time for indoor-outdoor living, right? Blurring that line between your living room, your master suite, the kitchen, whatever it might be, and really blending it into that outdoor living space. So many builders choose to do that on site.
I do.
Did see some photos online from, I think, Ken Semler last week, who was posting on Facebook with the porches.
Yeah, already attached to the house or shipped with the house to be put on. Yeah, Ken's a master at this stuff. So
yeah, and you know what? Maybe we can get down there. That's right down in Fairfield. So maybe we can
Ken, didn't you invite us? Ken?
On location from that one. That would be a lot of fun to see how they did that and show our friends out there how that's coming together, because that's an amazing feature.
It is. What is an amazing feature, and it just shows the efficiency, if done right, what modular construction can bring. And I do think it's very important, right? All homes are rectangles, boxes, unless it's something really custom. You're doing an octagon or oval room or what have you. It's all how you dress it. It all depends on what you want to do with it. In this particular photo, right, hardscaping, landscaping makes all the difference in the world when it comes to the look of the home. Yeah. Sure, this has the roofs on, has the decks on it, and everything's in place. But again, you just need to design to what your features are in the neighborhood or on the property you're on, and then architecturally just put your hardscape and landscape in.
And really make it look beautiful. Yeah. This is another great photo. I think this one came from Signature Custom Homes. And like Dave was saying, it's all about the design detail and how that rock and stone comes together, and those railings and those windows.
Stainless steel railings there. That's what they have.
Yeah.
Cable railing. Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And what we saw at Blockhouse Residential was so cool over the EPDM roof was this like floating tile
They did. They had a walkout EPDM roof, and it was almost like a floating teak, but I think it was a vinyl product. But it looked like floating teak tiles, and you just let them on, and it was so nice to walk in. It felt like it just cushioned your foot every time you stepped on them.
Yeah, yeah, and I would love to be standing out there all day long. So,
for sure.
Really nice touches. So again, it all comes into the planning, but these are some of the things obviously that need to be done on site if you're building an on-site garage. Lately, we're seeing more and more builders choose to actually do the whole garage from the factory as well, because a lot of them are incorporating living space above or living space within. So we're seeing that happen more and more. But there are, so many builders out there who still site build that garage, especially if it's a detached garage or, whatever it might be, that would happen.
Well, and of course, I mean, some builders do the garages modular. We tend, to always have done them on site just because it was more cost effective and you had more control of the grading with the driveway and everything. But it's really up to the builder. The more you can do at the factory is always better.
Yeah. Yeah. And think about it as you're selling the concept to your clients and you're working with, folks who may not be sold on, the concept of modular construction. When you look at these finished pictures, when you look how these homes blend so naturally into their environment. Who doesn't want that?
Everybody wants that.
I know, right?
Well, you think everybody wants it. I know we would want it. That's kind of what we do. So, listen, modular is no different than site, and I think everybody's so tired of us hearing that. But I'm going to keep repeating it. It's a process. It's not a product. It's a process.
Exactly. And I do love the fact that all of these homes are, built using modular construction, right?
Yeah.
So beautiful. So going back to another slide we've shown before, there are so many advantages to modular construction. These are just a few of our favorites. Especially because it's good for the builder, it's good for the client, and it's good for the planet. And right now, we just all need to be kind to our earth, kind to each other. And this is a great way to do that, I think.
So, all right, Mark Willie, if you're listening, good for the builder, good for the client, good for the planet. Another T-shirt. That's like 6 of them we come up with this week. Good for the builder, good for the client,
exactly.
And good, good. All right, Jennifer, we'll have hats next week.
Well, maybe not a hat. That might be a lot on a hat, but T-shirts for sure.
So modular construction advantage, right? You said weather tight, right? We showed pictures earlier and it was about how quickly we were weather tight. I mean, we have it up, the roof's done within a day or two, the house wrap is on, and then hopefully the guys are prepping to get the siding and everything put on. So that is awesome. That means the product's dry. That means we're reducing the risk of mold.
Exactly.
Cheryl, if you're listening,
I know,
we're reducing the risk of mold and environmentally hazardous, bacteria and growths and everything else that can come. So these are big factors, right? Less on-site disruption.
Right.
What does that mean, Jennifer?
Big deal. So especially if you're working in a delicate area or a high density area, fewer work trucks on site, less disruption, less coming and going, if you will, fewer people, fewer crews, shorter time, no deliveries, essentially, so much either came already or shipped loose already in the modules. So think about that. Think about, because again, where we were in Pittsburgh in that urban location, those streets are tight, those hills are steep, and I'm not carrying those packages. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Well, we were just out of breath walking with the camera. I'm like, oh my God, we live at sea level. So you get and I'm from Pittsburgh, but boy, it's going to take a while to get in shape. We go back to Pittsburgh, but absolutely. I mean, the neighbors are happier, right? It's less time disturbing everybody.
Yeah.
It's more efficient. Everything about it is. So absolutely love it. And then for the builder and the client, right? Or for the client, I mean, and for the environment, lower emissions, right? Less waste of product.
Less wrapping. Like think about all that packaging, right? All those pallets, all that shrink wrap, all of that stuff that is required to transport, on the back of a truck or whatever, all of that like miscellaneous material, there's no need for it.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And all that off-gassing happens weeks in advance while it's on its way to you, right? So even for the client and for the environment, everything has an off-gas.
Yeah.
And you know, whether you had a linoleum floor or a vinyl floor or hardwood or just whatever.
It's off-gassing. So that's great too. I mean, while we're still on the slide, something that Andrew Holmes and Zach actually said from Blockhouse Construction, I thought was very interesting. You know, one of our favorite new quotes did come from,
I got to put it up
from
first.
these
Don't
guys.
say it.
I won't say it. But we were asking them, like, you know, in your, because they did come from a traditional site built background, have there been any trade-offs? You know, what are you hearing in terms of any negative feedback in terms of using modular construction? And Andrew had said, you know, the trades aren't that happy because there's not a whole lot of work for them to do once they get here. Yep. And he was specifically talking about the drywall installation. You know, there was just so little drywall that needed to be installed on site at that project. And we were all there like thinking, well, that means that person, those trades can actually get on to the next job faster and actually complete more homes in a year.
Well, they're all struggling for labor. They're all struggling for labor. Modular and offsite in general gives them the opportunity to do the same amount of workload. They probably don't charge as much on each job, but they can be more efficient and go job to job for job and be efficient and make money.
Right. And it's so much easier for them to schedule their own workers if they know that they're just going to be on a job, you know, whether it's 3 days, 5 days, 10 days. That's so much easier to count on and plan for than a job that you're on for 20 or 25. So
100% agree.
Yeah. So we were all kind of, you know, we all felt like that was an easy thing to turn around. And after that, there really were no negatives.
There were none.
Yeah.
There really were none. All right, listen, I have this just about loaded. I'm even going to change the default color for this because this was huge.
There we go.
Modular is magical.
Yeah. And it's true because it came together so fast. What Andrew and Zach were talking about also were all the neighbors came out of the woodwork to watch this. Like we had said, it was right on a bus stop. So those people got on the bus that morning, going where they were going, came home later that day, and all of a sudden a 5-unit townhouse project.
Home that day. It's amazing that they don't all wreck. You go to work and there's nothing there. You come home and then a complete building is done. You know, most people don't really understand what modular is, or they're just not paying attention because they're not building. And all of a sudden they come home expecting to see workers framing something. And here they're putting on the roof already.
Yeah. Yeah. So pretty amazing. So
it is.
That was so fun. And even, you know, again, just going back to last week, we didn't give shout outs to ModLogic.
We didn't give shout outs to ModLogic.
I know. Can you believe it? Jim Gabriel, who came out to see us and check out the work that we were doing. Dennis from Housing Innovation Alliance.
And Colleen. Yep. We saw Dennis and Colleen Staggerwald. They came out and they visited us.
Yeah.
You know,
and biggest thanks to Pittsburgh Salvaged.
Yeah. Pittsburgh Salvage, Brian Cooper. Woo. Yeah, that's my brother. So
they hosted a great backdrop all week.
Yeah, we were able to sit in their office or their display room and actually film for the most part 3 out of the 5 days that week, which big thumbs up. Thank you. If you're looking for reclaimed anything, that's where you go.
That was another one where Mark Willie wished he had more thumbs to give more thumbs up because
Mark Willie thumbs.
I know, because of all, you know, the whole reclaim, reuse, repurpose. I mean, Brian in Salvage Pittsburgh is taking that to the next level.
Yes.
With all of that vintage barnwood and reclaimed products.
26,000 square feet or something like that.
Yeah, and just how they're refurbishing everything. It's pretty amazing.
Reclaim, reuse, repurpose, or reclaim.
I know you never get it right. That's okay.
I don't know. It's green. It's efficient.
Yeah, I mean, definitely saving a lot of product from a landfill. That's for sure.
For sure.
So.
Why that jumped flat? There we go.
I know. So, well, it's okay because we've talked about this again, just reminding everybody that time is money. And this is where the savings comes into play. It's a controlled product. It's a controlled process. And this is where you really see that timeline zipping along.
Yeah, for sure. It really is. It does zip along. And again, so everybody, I mean, if you're just joining us, I mean, we're doing an overview. Ask us questions. We're going to dive into some of these pieces even more and more. So we're just doing a broad overview, couple week overview of the modular process. And then after that, we're actually going to jump into it and probably dive further into the details, mate lines, really understand some of the technology that's being used and the components that are being used. So, and also hopefully as the world loosens up and we can travel. We got several people out there that are wanting us to come to their manufacturing facilities.
Yeah.
So we're going to try and bring some of these things live to you from the field and from factories across the country, and even in Europe. We have some, some things coming up, hopefully. So, I mean, it's going to be a lot of fun. So if you would like us in your manufacturer, or you'd like us to come to your project, let us know, because I think the year is going to book up on that. But it's going to be so perfect, because we're going to really be able to show in detail and live.
Yeah, how it all comes together.
So
yeah, super fun.
So Jennifer, we keep showing this because
yeah, you can really see how one process stacks upon the other, and how much faster you are. Well, I almost made up a word that I won't do that, but you're faster to your equity, right? In terms of, financially speaking, if it's a shorter timeline, you're saving money on all those holding costs. And, if it's a retail project for sale project, you get it on the market faster. If you're building for a client, they're occupying the space faster.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially as it relates to healthcare workers and schools and everything else, where, fast is good. It's high quality and it's fast. So that part is all really great. And again, it's all about the partners. We've been so excited too, to be hearing from a lot of traditional site builders who are calling us and reaching out to us privately saying, hey, what about this? What about that? How do I do this? How do I do that? So, please continue to just pass along the good word and advocate for modular construction.
Yeah, really. I mean, there's a lot of you out there that have a lot of questions, and we love the questions coming in. We love to talk to people. We love to help people, especially if you're just trying to figure out if modular is the right solution for you. So you can definitely reach out to us, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions or set something up that we can help you even long term.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, Jen. I know this is going to make a big loud noise. It always does.
Oh, goodness. Something crazy. You're doing something crazy.
I know. Well, you keep going on that. You want me to go to the next slide?
Yeah. So we talk about partnership all the time. You can actually go to the next slide. I'll do this while you're doing that. So later this week, starting tomorrow, essentially, so pumped that we have Bruce Thompson from Urbaneer. The team over there is doing outstanding work as it relates to ADUs and addressing so many problems across the board. What?
Yes. Bruce Thompson?
Yeah.
That's tomorrow.
I know
it. Professor Nez is not confirmed for June 4th yet, just so you know. We're working through. We have a meeting on June 4th to discuss him coming on. So that's my mistake right there. I put that up. I was just looking at it to confirm that. So, but we have Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Matt Daigle from Rise.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Daigle from Rise on Friday, which is, a big deal.
Yes.
Rise is, a leader of information. In fact, why don't we show their site? Everybody can see that. I think they like that.
Yeah. And if you're not familiar with it, check it out. They are reporting on so many topics and so many current events, and how things are changing by the day within offsite construction and everything else. Definitely a leader in the space in terms of getting information out there with an amazing reach.
Yeah.
Tons of people tune in and listen into what they have to say and what they're posting and what they're writing about. So a wealth of information can be found there. They've been a really good partner through this process. They're big supporters also of
I think that's Matt right there.
There we go.
So, Rise is great. Look, they got Forbes on here, New York Times, Reader's Digest. They have taken what do they call it? The sustainable is the new sexy.
Oh my gosh. Really?
Another t-shirt. I told Matt I want one of those ones. That's a perfect one. But yeah, do you see the guy in the background?
Yeah, that is funny.
But yeah, Matt's going to be on. That's Friday at, what is Friday? 11 o'clock. BS Friday with Mark Willie and Bruce Thompson, Urbaneer on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We're going to talk, we're going to talk about?
What?
We're not just going to talk about what they're doing. We're going to talk about how it happened. How did you get started? What gave you the idea to want to do this? And what headaches maybe have you had? What were your ups and downs? Because you went from Urbaneer to having a partner with one of the largest manufacturers in the country.
I mean, it's an amazing story in terms of how you take a concept, how you take an innovative idea, and then, like you said, partner with somebody, who's huge in the industry. I mean, talk about fast, how
Super
quickly
fast.
things changed for them, but how quickly they were able to get, the speed to market is a super big deal. They had an amazing product that could solve a lot of problems, and many people, huge demand. When we were at IBS this year, holy cow, you almost had to get a number to get into the Urbanier show house, right?
They were kind enough to block off the doors for us so we could get in there, which was really cool.
Yeah, people were coming and going like mad in that location. So that'll be a great conversation with Bruce, and obviously the folks from Rise.
Yeah.
Will be an amazing conversation.
And then Miles on Thursday. Miles Biggs ideas, always talking about influence, increasing influence, and what have you. And that's the show Professor Nez is going to come on. I mean, he's verbally agreed to do it, which is really cool.
Well, if you're out there, Professor Nez, now you're committed.
So, just for honest, put it on the calendar, because that meeting is about, well, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
Right. So we can talk a little bit, because Professor Nez, he is truly a professor, but on the other side of it, he's kind of like a life coach, personal coach. He does a lot of LinkedIn coaching and YouTube coaching. Yeah. So there's so much. So we really wanted to pick some lanes that we think would be the most value for our.
So many topics to cover.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
but what I love about this lineup is, again, in the spirit of where we are in this country, in this world, these are people who are doing good.
They are doing good.
Right? They are developing solutions and helping others and partnering and collaborating. And that is what we're trying to support and really drive home. And we're so thankful that you're out there watching for us.
We love it.
And please support these other folks as well.
What's up, Troy? Good morning to you as well. I hope you're doing well. Look at this, kids. Love it.
So cute.
And that's a great picture.
I know.
So thanks for joining us today, Troy, and all of the rest of you out there that are watching. We really do appreciate it. And thank you for always tuning in. I mean, we have so much fun. Do you think we have fun doing this?
We do. And
we need to get out of our house more, though.
I know. But that time will come. And until then, keep building modular.
Yeah, definitely keep building modular. So, I mean, that's an episode of Building Modular with Jennifer, Dave and Jennifer. Is it 5:00 yet?
I know. Well, we do this on our lunch break, everybody. So thank you for sharing your lunch break with us, if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. We love it. So we will see you guys tomorrow with Bruce Thompson, Urbanier, 1 p.m. The information's out there. Hit me up. And as always, Jennifer, send us your coffee mugs if you'd like us to promote you. Thank you, Rochester Home. In fact, they sent us 2. I love it. We will be using this all the time, and we're going to promote with these as well. So join us next Tuesday at 11 o'clock for Jennifer.
No, 1 p.m. for us.
Oh, 1 p.m. Tuesday. Oh, man, I'm losing. 1 p.m. Tuesday for what? Building Modular. I'm Dave Cooper.
I'm Jennifer.
We will see you next time. Where's the point?